Have you ever noticed something? The people with the least to say are usually the ones doing 90% of the talking. They fill every gap, they explain too much, they laugh too loud at their own jokes. Think about the opposite. Think about the one person in the room who barely speaks, sitting back, watching, not reacting. Where I'm from, you don't worry about the loud one. You watch the quiet one. Because silence makes people uncomfortable, and uncomfortable people reveal things. In this video, I'm going to show you 5 ways to use strategic silence to shift power in conversations. In negotiations, in leadership, in sales, in public speaking, if you talk too much, you give information away. If you pause correctly, you make people show their hand. Let's get into it. Why does silence work? Most people are terrified of silence. Silence feels like rejection. Silence feels like tension. Silence feels like something went wrong. So what do? They rush to fix it. They start explaining too much. They start justifying. They start apologizing for things nobody asked for them to apologize for. Here's the reality. The person who can tolerate silence controls the pace of the interaction. There's research behind this too. In negotiation studies, the side that speaks first after an offer is often the side that concedes. Silence creates pressure. Humans are wired to resolve tension. If you don't break it, someone else will. Now, I'm not asking you to use strategic silence to become somebody who's awkward. This type of restraint is to display a discipline. You don't react immediately. You don't fill the space automatically. You let the other person sit with what they just said. That's power. Now, let's break this down into 5 real scenarios. First one being the negotiation freeze. Let's start with the money. The recruiters call you, they're excited. You're a great fit. We'd love to bring you on. The offer is $105,000. Most people will respond instantly. Okay, that sounds good. Or worse, is that flexible? That's the wrong move. Here's what to do instead. They give you a number. You pause. Not an awkward dramatic showcase that shows you're just thinking. I mean a pause. 3 seconds. 5 seconds go by. Long enough for them to feel it. Then you say, is this the best you can do? And then you go silent again. You're not rambling. Don't show any nervous laughter. Don't over-explain why you deserve more. Just be silent. What happens next? They start talking. Well, there may be some flexibility depending on, we could possibly look at that. I'd have to check back with my superiors. You didn't argue. You didn't attack. You didn't defend your resume. You let the silence do the work. Silence in negotiation signals confidence. If you rush to accept, you look relieved. Relief signals leverage loss. Even if you don't have another offer, the discipline of silence make it feel like you might. The key here is the emotional control. If you look desperate, silence won't save you. If you look grounded, silence make them second guess their number. Practice this. Literally rehearse it. Get comfortable hearing nothing for a few seconds when you talk, because most people can't, and that's the edge. Number 2 is radical clarification. We got to talk about the disrespect that happens sometimes. So you're in a meeting, someone makes a joke that crosses the line. It's subtle, it's disguised as humor. Everyone kind of laugh, but it feels off. Most people either laugh it off, they get defensive, fire back emotionally. Here's a better move. You pause, strategic silence. Look at them and calmly say, can you explain what you meant by that joke? Then silence. The question is powerful because it forces clarity. Disrespect survives in vagueness. When you ask someone to clarify their joke, they now have to repeat it. 9 times out of 10, they will backtrack. Oh, I didn't mean it like that. It was just a joke. You didn't escalate. You didn't yell. You didn't even match their energy. You let the silence put the spotlight on the comment because it was disrespectful and they meant to hurt you. Silence plus calm question exposes intention. And when you hold eye contact at that and you don't rush to soften it, that's when people get nervous because now they have to own what they said. Strategic silence here protects your dignity without turning you into the loudest person in the room. Number 3, the leadership stare down. This works both ways, as a leader and as an employee. So picture this. You ask someone why the deadline was missed. They start explaining. I was going to get to it, but Then this came up and that came up, and honestly, it was just a busy week. Lazy excuse. Now, here's the mistake that most leaders make. They jump in immediately. They try to correct, they start lecturing, they interrupt instead of listening. Let them finish. And when they're done, just look at them. No smile, no head nod. Don't try to rescue them. 3 seconds, 4 seconds, nothing but silence. People will feel that. And what usually happens, they start correcting themselves. Actually, I just should have prioritized it better. That's on me. I could have handled this differently. Silence makes people hear themselves. As an employee, this works too. If a manager gives you a weak explanation for a bad decision, don't immediately argue. Let them finish, then pause, and you calmly say, "So, the expectation moving forward is still the same?" Then let silence go by. You're not emotional. Don't get aggressive. You're not forcing the clarity. Silence forces accountability. When you don't rush to react, the other person becomes aware of their own logic gaps. That awareness creates pressure. Number 4, silence during the discovery call. If you're in sales, coaching, leadership, this one is deadly effective. During a discovery call, most amateurs talk too much. They pitch too early. They explain features that don't even benefit the customer. They sell before they even understand what the problem is. Professionals ask questions, and then they shut up. You ask, "What's the biggest challenge you're dealing with right now?" They answer halfway. Pause. Don't jump in. Let the silence sit. Here's what happens. They keep talking. And honestly, it's not even just that. It's also, now you're getting to the real problem. People reveal deeper information when you don't interrupt them. Silence tells them you're listening. It also makes them uncomfortable enough to fill the gap, often with the truth. In coaching, this is even more powerful. You ask them, "What's actually holding you back?" They say something surface level, you pause. You look at them, you stay silent. Eventually they go deeper because silence creates the space, and the space creates honesty. If you talk too soon, you cut off the real issue. Strategic silence here increases the depth. The depth increases the trust, and trust closes the deals. 5, this is my favorite, the public speaking anchor. Now let's talk about the stage presence. Most people rush their words because they're nervous. They feel every second. They're afraid if they pause, they'll lose the room. It's the opposite. Pause at the right moment, and the room leans in. Here's an example. You don't have a time management problem. You have a discipline problem. Silence. That pause makes the statement land. When you speak and you pause intentionally, it signals control. It tells the audience you're not racing for approval. You're choosing your words wisely. If you watch powerful speakers, they don't rush. They pause before important lines. They let silence stretch long enough to create tension. Tension builds attention. Attention builds impact. If you rush to the next sentence, you rob your words of weight. Strategic silence in public speaking makes the people listen harder because they don't know when you're about to say something that really matters. All right, here's the truth. Strategic silence isn't about being mysterious. It's a form of emotional discipline. It's a form of restraint. Most people react fast, they get defensive, they over-explain, they try to fill the gap of the silence with noise. When you slow down, when you pause, you separate yourself. You don't need to be loud. You don't need to dominate the conversation. You need control. Control of your timing, control of your reactions. Practice it. Count to 3 before responding. Pause after important statements. Let people sit with what you said. You'll notice something quickly. They start revealing more. They start correcting themselves. They start negotiating against themselves also. Because silence makes people nervous, and nervous people talk. Use it wisely. I'll see you on the next one.